for having us. It sounds like it's been a great day, and hopefully this is a great way to wrap up the session, talking about the feel-good and the momentum behind women's sport. But my name's Daisy Pearce, a former AFLW player for Melbourne and now an analyst with Channel 7 and a coach down at Geelong Cats. Elise Callan-Knight, who is a 113 times capped Matilda, twice named in the All-Star team at Women's World Cups in 2011 and 15, and had to sit out this year's World Cup with an Achilles injury, but her adversity and loss was our gain because she got to bring the game to us broadcasting with Channel 7, which taught me a lot about football. Can I call you KK? Mel McLaughlin did, so I'm going to go with that. And, of course, Nicole Livingstone, who went to 3 Olympic Games, twice medalled in 92 and 96, 6 Commonwealth golds alongside a whole suite of other medals, which sounds terrible. It sounds like silver and bronze.
It is a sore point, Commonwealth Games, but thank you for saying that it was 6 gold at Commonwealth Games. It is a sore point right now. Yeah. And
then making waves out of the pool ever since as well, both as an administrator with Swimming Australia and now the boss of AFL Women's at the AFL. So 15 minutes is a short amount of time. A sports-mad footy nut, a footballer and the boss of AFL Women's, this could go for an hour. So if we go past the 15 minutes, just let yourselves out, we'll turn the lights off. But what a time to be alive. It seems silly to start anywhere but the Women's World Cup that we've just witnessed. What is the significance of what the Matildas have just been able to do? And what is the change and legacy that will leave in terms of women's sports in general?
Yeah, I'm still digesting it. I went into a 3-day coma after the World Cup. For me, it was almost like a FIFA circus. I was all over the country, just massive crowds, full adrenaline. I'm glad I didn't know 11 million people were going to tune into those games beforehand, because the amount of people that tuned into the World Cup was just phenomenal. I'd been to 3 World Cups previous. Unfortunately, I ruptured my Achilles in March, which ruled me out of this one, but I pivoted quickly. I was like, how do I get on board to be a part of this World Cup in every way possible? And people thought I'd be a good fit for the World Cup doing the broadcast because I could bring it to people and their lounge rooms. And I think it was really encouraging how many people actually got on board and actually supported this World Cup. I think I'm really proud of Australia for putting all their support, not just behind sport, but female sport. I think it's a real pivotal moment for any young player coming through, or any female, in fact. You can go down the levels, you can think, wow, what it did for women's football, what it did for women's sport, and then just what it does for women in general, to really change that dial and realise it's normal for females to be athletes now. I grew up in a generation where people would question what I was doing, like, oh, girls play soccer? Like, what? Do you get paid to do that? Is that even something that has longevity in it, and all of these questions, but now we've completely changed that and shown that it's a world-class product.
People were right. You were very good as a commentator.
Very good.
But you're right. I think for many of us, and I'll get your take on it in a sec too, Nicole, but for me, who grew up loving sport and then becoming an athlete myself and being a female athlete, it was healing in many ways. Like, it was healing to sit there and watch millions of people turn up and watch the Matildas for all of those moments, very similar to the ones that you described, where your place in the landscape of sport wasn't always valued.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer. That's the topic we're here for today, and I think I didn't anticipate it. I knew it would be a big tournament, but the groundswell that it's created, and you can just start to see the flow-on effects, like with the AFL starting last weekend. I don't know what your normal viewership is, but I imagine you would have gotten a massive spike from that. And our domestic league starts in 6 weeks in the A-League Women's, and we're going to expect a lot of people to come and jump on board and actually want quality football and to watch females playing sport, which, I mean, it's so encouraging. I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime, to be honest. I've just been a part of the gradual change. There's been pivotal moments where we have been able to change things within our sport. The most iconic moment was in 2015, where we all went on strike to really try and professionalise the game. It got to a point, like myself, I studied pharmacy through my early 20s, always had a dual career, never thought that being a professional athlete, especially a footballer, was financially viable, so had a dual career. And then football started to demand more. So I was asked to be a full-time athlete before the 2015 World Cup, but paid a pittance. I couldn't live. So then I had this split decision where I had to go either play as a Matilda or, earn a decent income as a pharmacist. And I said, why do I have to choose? Why can't we just fix this system? So we all went on strike in 2015, a collective movement, and that's when we were finally able to have proper contracts, paid minimum wage, still not good enough. But over that next 4-year period, we strategized and eventually got to a collaborative point with our Football Australia Federation that we reached equality. So it's by no surprise, that was 8 years ago, that now the team ends up 4th at a World Cup. It's all by design, and there's a reason that the team performed so well at this World Cup.
Absolutely. Nicole, how did you take it in? It was a bit of a where were you moment, and it will be for the rest of our lives. Where were you in the quarterfinal for the penalty shootout against France? And now back at work, how do you capitalise on the momentum that it's created and make it football's gain as well?
So I was pretty lucky to be able to go to a couple of the Matildas games and World Cup matches. So to be able to see the enthusiasm around women's sport was certainly heartening for us. We all had the dates penciled into our diary. We had been planning for AFLW since November last year, and obviously just launched in September this year for our opening round. But I think what sort of took us all by surprise is suddenly our nation has woken up that they love women's sport, which is really exciting. Women athletes, if you want to clap that, I'm happy for you to clap that. Women athletes have always been here and have always been punching well above their weight. I think about the sport that I've come from in swimming, and historically we've had these incredible fierce women that have gone onto the international stage, but every 4 years, so you had to sort of wait for women to come back onto centre stage. So to be able to have this perfect moment of a home World Cup, a Matilda's team that is so loved throughout the nation, it really was just a green and gold tsunami. For us, it gives us a platform to be able to then say to everybody, you love women's sport. You realise that now. So if you love women's sport, AFLW is here. It's not green and gold, but it is 18 teams that have their own supporter base, their fandom, their fanatics, that really have been going behind men's sport for 160 years. Now let's switch across and get behind AFLW and women's sport. It's pretty exciting.
It is, and I think what I'm hearing is the power of people as well. I mean, so often living in the world of women's sport, we speak about where corporate investment's going to come from and government contribution, and all of that's important. But I think the big takeaway from the Women's World Cup also was the power of people turning up and being there to support, and the flow-on effect that it does have on those other things.
Yeah, because I think women's sport is still judged, and we know that women's sport brings so much more than just a broadcast. Sounds ironic sitting here saying that, a broadcast or sponsorship dollars. We know that it's actually giving children role models and heroes. When we go to sport, and Matildas were evident of that, and we see it at AFLW, when you see little boys wearing jerseys or Guernseys with women's names on the back, then you know that you are actually changing society. You're changing the way that people are thinking about women in whatever industry, and it's not just playing, it's coaching, umpiring, broadcasting. These two women have now normalised hearing a woman's voice when it comes to broadcasting sport. So you know that you're actually affecting a whole society and how we view women, and we hope that that in turn changes the way that women are respected in all workforces.
We're talking about the Matildas' legacy. What do you want each of your legacies to be? Do you ever think about that, or I've given you a second to think about it?
I've always been driven by altruistic motives. It's never about me. I'm not leaving a personal legacy. It's always been improving for the next generation. So I sit on we've been able to create change through our players' union. So our PFA, Professional Footballers Australia, is where we create change. And I sit on our executive committee for that. And for me, that's where I'm leaving my legacy. So I'm volunteering a lot of my time to improve all sorts of conditions, trying to protect players in every way that we can. And then I think, as Nicole said, I think what really was really apparent for me at this World Cup was the number of females broadcasting. For that was a world first for us. Never at any of the World Cups that I'd previously been to had we had such a heavy female broadcast team before. That was Channel 7 and Optus. I mean, there were some people that went so far on the dial and they got angry when they saw two men commentating. It's like, where are the females? So I was like, hold on, we don't hate men here, it's fine. But I think it was really, really encouraging to see. And now a lot of other females are brave enough to stand up and create change and even do the broadcasting or whatever it is in their space. They're getting a lot of confidence to do that. So maybe if I had to just nail it down to an answer, it'd be to instill confidence in the females around me.
That visibility is so important. I mean, I have a memory that I'd kind of pushed away and not thought about for a long time. 11 years old, sitting on the couch with my dad. He'd been a pilot at one stage, so with his pilot headset on, plugged into nothing with the volume turned down, commentating the footy, both sitting there with these headsets on. So footy mad, and that's what I'd do on a Saturday afternoon. But when my university applications came around in year 12, did I ever put journalism or anything related to media on my preferences? No way. I hadn't seen anyone do that, so why did I think I would do that? Fast forward a lot of years, and the advent of AFLW and the opportunity to work in broadcasting came up. Did I have any qualifications? No. And I was shit scared, but I was like, I'm not going to let some other girl not see herself there. Yeah. And if I've got an opportunity to do it, I'm going to grab this with both hands and do the best bloody job I can and hope for the best. So it's absolutely a motivating factor for me as well.
So that makes you an agent of change, because now we have this cycle that's happening where girls are not only watching sport and thinking about the fact that they can actually have that as an inspiration. There is something that happens when you're in about grade 6, I reckon, that you see something or you experience something that you then want to be. And I remember meeting Olympic swimmers at the Olympic Games trials that were held in Melbourne, ironically where Collingwood now train, in the pool that's under the floor. And I remember meeting Michelle Ford and Lisa Forrest and all of these amazing women that swam. There weren't any women broadcasters at that time either, but I think about the impact that it has. Women hearing you not only commentate on AFLW, but more importantly on AFL, it just changes what your ear is used to hearing as well. So now you have a generation of kids that will go through and get to, my year 10 boy is just doing that. What do I want to do for year 11 and year 12? So there is a host of girls that are now putting sports media down or sports and communications down because of what the two of you have been able to do. The legacy question for me, I think for all of us, we want to leave it in a better place than we found it. We didn't have AFLW 7 years ago. This product, this league, it's not just a product, it's a league that we love, has been around now for 7 years and 8 seasons. And we now have gone from 8 inaugural teams to 18 teams. So really important for us to make sure that every one of the AFL clubs also had a women's team. And some people said you went too quickly with that. But as I go around and sit in the clubs, and Sydney Swans as an example, who had a first epic win on the weekend with AFLW, to sit in the clubs and to see the women moving around and training and being able to pursue sport and pursue footy, who can legitimately say that they didn't deserve the right to be able to have their own team? So we've now got 540 women that are on contracts to play AFLW, and we didn't have that 8 years ago. So the legacy piece is to leave it in a better place than it has been. We started with 29 matches in year 1 when you were a pioneer in inaugural season, and we now have 99 matches. So there's over 240% increase in growth there, and players received a 94% pay increase last year. So start to think about the ecosystem of AFLW, and there's close to $300 million that's been invested into that league by the AFL and the clubs to be able to get it where it is today. So it's hugely important. This is our growth product. Some other clubs wandered off to other growth products and then suddenly realised that women and women's sport is where they should be. And I'm pleased about that.
Hear, hear. It all creates a bit of a jostling within the women's sports space, which ultimately I think will be better for everyone. Because people ask me, as someone that lives in the AFLW space, what's this going to mean for football, the success of the Matildas? And said, well, even if it is harder getting there, in the end it will be better for all because of the pressure that it creates within the market.
Yeah.
What do you see the flow-on effect being for A-League women's from the Matildas? Do you see there being a direct flow-on to an improvement in terms of the opportunities for women and the sport itself?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because FIFA is such a big body, and the amount of money they put into making World Cups is enormous. I think everyone can agree the product that they put on was fantastic. Between the broadcast, the facilities, the teams that came in, the preparation, the prize money, all of this was a great product. But how do you replicate it? We don't have the billions of dollars that FIFA do. So how does the A-League Women's get to that point? I think For me, it's being able to make a product that people want to attend and watch. So fixing the broadcast, we need better cameras, more knowledgeable people doing the broadcast to make it more engaging. It's something people want to actually tune into. And then to create players as role models as well. So you need the media to really amp up their game there too. But we've got a long way to go in terms of facilities too in the APLW. Some of our clubs still aren't training at good enough facilities, and where you are every day, your environment creates the end product. So if you don't have access for 12 months of the year, we don't have 12-month contracts at the moment. We're on about 9-month contracts. So if you don't have access to the people who are going to get you to that high quality level of football that you're training day in, day out, we're not going to have a great product people want to go and watch. So it all works hand in hand. So we really need to work on getting our facilities better, and then also people on 12-month contracts where it's a livable wage, because we're still not there in the round football game.
I know we're out of time, but I think we can all work together. We already do all work together. Good friends with Sarah Walsh, who obviously from a soccer point of view, sorry to call it soccer, we do talk a lot, but it's not just Sarah, it's cricket, it's rugby league. We all come together and collectively we are stronger together. So I think that's really important. From an AFLW and women's sport point of view, and I'll talk for KK as well, get behind women's sport, watch it, go see it. Once you get there, you will love it, particularly if you're going to go and watch AFLW or the A-League. And tell your friends, be enthusiastic about it, don't talk it down. Certainly don't be a keyboard warrior about women's sport. Now's the time to really get behind it.
I think we'll end there. What a time to be alive, hey? Nicole, all the best for the AFLW season. KK, all the best for A-League Women's in the comeback from your Achilles. Can't wait to see you back out there.
Awesome.
Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.
I'm a rebel just for kicks.